Brenda, let's go. The press in the Down Beach Current were notified of this meeting, and a copy of same was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and on the municipal website. Meeting will come to order. Would you please stand for the flag salute? Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tom, would you call the roll?
Mr. Becker. Here. Mr. Blumberg.
Here.
Ms. Taube.
Here.
We have before us the minutes of our meetings of October 2nd. Are there any additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg.
Yes.
Ms. Taube.
Yes.
Is there any public comment? You have 3 minutes to talk about any subject.
Stephen Altman, 9003 Amherst Avenue, Margate. I really don't have my thoughts very collected, but what I would like to say to the community is that I'm finding it very sad, for lack of a better word, that there are angry words being expressed to the commissioners and other people simply because people disagree or have alternative views of what's going on in Margate. I personally take it as an affront when citizens stand where I am and say things about our commissioners or mayor or others in a less than respectable way. I think that you're our neighbors as well as our elected officials, and you deserve a certain monicum of respect that I don't think is always proffered to you. But it is not just you that I think is being insulted when that happens. I truly believe that I'm being insulted and the rest of the community is being insulted by that kind of behavior. I've sat and listened carefully for, I don't know, going on 14 years, and I truly feel that if you have to insult someone with your argument can't be that sound. If you have an argument to put forward, and it's really important and cogent, then you can say it in a civilized manner without attacking any of our neighbors, whether they're commissioners or just somebody with a different point of view. So I'm hopeful that those people who do come to this mic and have differing points of view, which are important, and some of them I agree with, I would pray that they will speak in a very civil manner, as if they were talking to one of their parents or one of their school teachers or one of their religious leaders. They, I'm sure, are respectful of those people. I feel they should be respectful of this commission and the audience in attendance. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Mayor, can we give him 3 more minutes?
Anyone else? Public comment? Anyone else? Very good.
3 seconds.
Sewell, 22 West Drive, not to take issue with Steve, but in the words of the late, great President Harry S. Truman, if you can't take the heat, you got to get out of the kitchen. Plain and simple. Politics is not a pink tea. It's not high tea at 4:00 p.m. It is a blood sport. And accordingly, if you can't take it, you gotta throw the towel in. It's that simple. Because some of what goes on in Margate is so egregious that if you weren't up here giving it in an unvarnished context, it would never sink in. And on that note, I hope that the mayor will impose upon Mr. Deeney to get that ordinance out, banning all nepotism and patronage, and banning all pay-to-play, including services in kind. This ordinance is long overdue, and let it be voted up or down. Let the mayor run on against such a ban. See how far it'll get him in May. But I venture to say, and I venture to guess, it won't get him very far if he votes against that ordinance. And the ordinance can always be overturned at any time. Once again, the same risk. But if you do it in June 2015, maybe folks won't remember in June 2019. So you can just think of it as a temporary ban and just simply reverse your position after Election Day. And see how good the memory of our senior citizens can be 4 years hence. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Anyone else?
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. I'd like to agree with my namesake, Steve Altman. I think we should all try to be respectful here, and I've always tried to be respectful. Sometimes maybe I get a little overboard, but I don't mean to hurt anybody, and I think respect is good. Thank you.
I respectfully am stating my name, Sharon Simon, 424 Thurlow Avenue. I agree. I also agree that the commission, to a higher extent, needs to respect the citizens and to understand that whatever information they put out there, unlike a citizen coming out and speaking or writing a letter, is held much higher, because the assumption is that whatever information the mayor or the commissioners are putting out is accurate, well-researched, and proven information. Mayor, you put in the newsletter that 4 attorneys said we will not prevail. Unless Rob Andrews said it, and he's your 4th attorney. Solicitor Abbott, I read everything he wrote, never said, we will not prevail. The 2 attorney opinions that are on our website do not say, we will not prevail. And to mislead the public that way is not right. We have a referendum, and people are so confused, they don't even understand why we're having it. And they don't know how to vote because they don't have all the information. And I understand that you don't either, but you should at least give them the facts. I sent a letter to the commission to please have a town meeting, just as you had a town meeting when you wanted to build the building department, which is a much smaller, less significant project than this, that will affect the community. This is just the biggest thing Margate ever faced. Commissioner Chaubey did a whole PowerPoint. There were financial analysis. Some of them had errors in their assumptions, so on and so forth. People stood up here and said to you, educate us, we want to know. Last time MCQBP had to do the education, you didn't put any out. People said we put misinformation out. You had every opportunity, you're the commission, to put information out. You didn't. As a result, we get letters like this, a woman who seems to write letters on your behalf, or at least for your opinions. And she says in here she did her research. Well, I don't know who she did her research with, whether it was, I don't know, maybe the Concerned Citizens Group, maybe it was you, Mayor, Commissioner Chaubey. But she said MCQBP raised $52,000. We didn't raise that much. I don't know where she would have gotten this information. She says, I've done my homework and know that there's absolutely no initial costs to the city of Margate. And there's no chance the commission will sign a replenishment contract, state aid agreement. Since there's no contract, there's zero chance that the state can force the city to spend the money for replenishment. They can invoke emergency powers. That's what Executive 140 is. There's nothing nothing correct in this. People are going to read this and think that it's true. The city has a lot of information posted on its website. There's hardly anything posted on the website. There's no place to get information. So I request that you have a meeting, a town hall meeting. Is there a reason why you wouldn't want to have a town hall meeting? Now let me ask you one more question. Let's say there are costs to the taxpayers. And I know for a fact there will be.
15 seconds, Sharon.
Do you think you should not challenge the state if there's millions of dollars to the taxpayers? I know Commissioner Tarby thinks we should have them no matter what. And I know Commissioner Blumberg wants to know what the costs are. That leaves you, Mayor.
Move on, Sharon.
This isn't important enough for you to address.
Move on.
I understand.
Thank you. I'm sure you do. Thank you.
And
Thank
you
you for
should
being
move on as
respectful.
well. Now, that was not respectful, to say you move on.
It wasn't civil either.
It wasn't civil. So it should...
Anyone else?
Move on.
Is there a
I'd like to make a motion that we close public comment.
I'll second that. Mr. Becker? Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Taube?
Yes.
Is there any public comment on second reading of ordinances and resolutions?
Sharon, Africa. Sewell, 22 West Drive. Mayor, ordinance number 32 for your attention. The amount received back from the state and federal agencies, the total amount, or is that a question for Mr. Deeney? Not suffering from innumeracy, I hope, like the rest of the Margatians. Not yet. Not yet. Not quite that addled. So give me a number we're going to get back on this money. Number 32.
I got it, John.
Okay.
John, we will get back 90% of all of the FEMA-eligible costs associated with the project.
I will sleep better tonight. Thank you. Resolution number 209. And I see once again that man of dubious repute, Mr. Rob Andrews, rainmaker nowadays instead of vacationer. What did we get for the first 20K? And what are we going to get for the second 10K other than rain?
We're still working on the first 20.
Okay, what's the goal or project on the second 10?
The report that I gave tonight, not to exceed that number. All of the work that went into preventing litigation was part of that 10.
Now that phrase, successfully resolve, sounds rather subjective to me. Precisely what does that phrase mean, Mr. Deeney?
But they're the words that I used, I don't recall.
I don't know. It's in this resolution. And it seems rather subjective to me. Perhaps the solicitor could assist you. He's good at arcane terms.
The issue is this, so that there is a tolling of the passage of time so that the city's position is not prejudiced. We are not at this time filing any litigation against the state of New Jersey or the Army Corps of Engineers. What this resolution does is it authorizes the city through the mayor to sign this agreement with the DEP to freeze our positions. So that's why it's called a tolling and standstill. It's not tolling where you pay a fine, it's tolling, stop the clock.
So that's your definition of successfully resolved, solicitor?
As to that point of not forcing us to file a suit at this time, yes.
We'll take that as acceptable.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's astute.
This is part of our being more
Yes.
fair.
Are more civil.
Calling Mr.
Civil.
Civil.
Number 211. Last Thursday, besides railing to the mayor and commissioner down in Ventnor, I also asked the Ventnor Commission, to have Chief Miller join with our chief, Wolfson, in a joint effort to lobby Whalen, Mr. Brown, Mr. Mazzeo, to overturn the yield to pedestrian. It's extraordinarily dangerous. I watched it out on Atlantic Avenue all summer long, people shoving baby carriages from behind these oversized Cadillacs, and it was just, my heart stopped when I watched these parents, put these children in such grave danger. And it's a miracle we haven't had somebody killed. There was a pedestrian auto ped just this past week at Newport and Atlantic Avenue. Because the problem is that the people have a notion.
John, this is about resolutions, and I just want you to know, John, that I agree with you wholeheartedly, but I still have to tell you that this is about resolutions.
But we shouldn't be supporting this application.
Your point about that. We should. You want it supported?
No, we should not support this whatsoever, because it's going down in the wrong direction. Because if you read the actual printout of this Resolution 211, you want to give people confidence and security. Well, confidence and security doesn't really help you much when you're 6 foot under. Because in the words of the late great Father Sewell, you can be right, but you can be dead right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Anyone else on ordinances, second reading of ordinances and resolutions?
Number 209, maybe I missed it. I just have a question. Rob Andrews has gotten from Commissioner Martin agreement to sit down at the table for a discussion, or is it just happening? I don't understand. We keep referring to that, at least a couple of meetings ago, I believe it was referred to, that Commissioner Martin had agreed to meet with us to discuss alternatives or come to a solution or whatever the terminology is. Did I hear correctly? Is that the case?
Rich, why don't you handle that?
I'm going to answer it in two ways. First of all, everything I've said is in writing, so you can go back and take a look at that writing again, and it's cumulative, so it's on that table. Secondly, I did say, and I believe it should be in there from several weeks ago, that telephonically, early on in this process with Mr. Andrews, he had a telephone call with Mr. Martin, and Mr. Martin, is my understanding through a telephone conversation that I wasn't in, promised him that, yes, they would sit down when we were ready, fully ready to sit down. We are almost fully ready to sit down with the DEP. We have sat down with all of the legislative people on the state and county level to get their, to advise them of what our position was and to get their comments and their support in us going forward. I'm not representing them at this point that they're...
No, I understand. I understand
but
what
I
you're
want
saying.
to tell you that that's what's happened.
Okay.
We will then be going to the Army Corps directly, which we're in the process of setting up right now. Once that's finished, we're going to try, the intent is to go down and sit down with Commissioner Martin, together with the Army Corps. Army Corps is first, then DEP.
Okay. Thank you. So is it, I guess they're proceeding as if, even though that's going to be happening over here, they're proceeding with their letters and whatever. One has nothing to do with the other, I guess is what I'm asking.
That part that was going over there was a roadblock, potentially.
Okay.
And we just alleviated that roadblock.
Tolling.
It's on hold.
Okay.
Until we get a notice from the state from the state appraiser, we're the same place we were 6 weeks ago or 6 months ago.
So just one other thing I want to clarify. So when you say, and this is for Solicitor Abbott, so you say the tolling, it holds our position.
Correct.
Our position is, when you say hold our position, what is our position? I'm not totally clear on it. Our position is that we...
Whatever legal challenge the attorneys decide, or if the city decides to undertake to fight the state of New Jersey and the federal government on the shore protection. So right now, they've given us notice of taking. We have to respond in a certain amount of time. Well, now, we don't have to challenge that or fight it. We have told the time with their agreement, with the state of New Jersey's agreement.
So at some point in time, they may come back and say, okay, now the clock's ticking?
Yes,
Or
definitely.
they may come back and say, we're going to do this other thing, or we don't know.
Hey, they could even come back and say, we won't build the sand dunes.
The governor's going to be running for president, you
Never
know?
know. Could
He might
happen.
be resigning soon.
Just
Okay,
never
thank you
know.
for clarifying. It's complicated, and I'm just
We
trying to get
are
an
in
understanding.
discussions with him. Mr. Andrews is leading that discussion. We have an engineer.
Right.
It's better to talk than...
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Fight
And
each
and if there was a time frame, if it was tolling the clock, what is that? Do we know what that time frame is? Is it weeks? Is it a month?
Well, I think the tolling is probably tied into the bidding process and the acceptance of bids and when it's suitable to actually pump sand in. So
Well, let me
I think
try
you're
to-
talking months, not years.
Let me try to clarify that. I don't, my understanding has nothing to do with the bidding.
Okay.
Okay? The tolling of time has to do with that note. What it said was that notice that we got today, but we heard about 2 weeks ago. We've all agreed that it has no authority to set the clock in motion relative to a taking of easements. Okay? There's a whole procedure that has to happen. So we are at ground, we're the same place we were 6 months ago. There's no time being ticked off. Time will start being ticked off when either party in this agreement can call it off on notice.
And I
So
understand.
we could start this in a few days. It could start again. I'm not saying it isn't, but whatever they filed on October 1st is meaningless at this point, as it relates to time.
So if it wasn't meaningless, we didn't have that tolling, what is that time frame? I guess that's my question.
Generally, after you get an appraisal, it's 14 days.
So when they start ticking, we can get ticked off at them, right? It was a joke. So when they start ticking, we can get ticked off at them. Thank you.
Stephen Altman, 9003 Amherst Avenue, Margate. I must take exception with Mr. Sewell's encouraging you not to authorize 211. As you all know, I've many times stood here arguing for some kind of enforcement in helping pedestrians to get across Ventnor and Margate, Amherst Avenue. And I've had very profitable discussions with Chief Wolfson, and I understand his point of view completely. We, as a community, put notices in the water bills, which I had reported here, I found very helpful in trying to get across the street. People saw that and responded. I do believe there is a statement on the website now about braking for pedestrians. Is there not? I think there is. I may be wrong. But my approach would be, I don't know what's really planned to assist pedestrians and bicycle riders, but whatever it is has to improve Margate as a resort in the summertime, whether it's more things like notices in water bills, whether it's on the calendar, which is a very successful vehicle I find very useful myself, or the website. Wherever we communicate what's expected of our visitors in our community, I think is extremely helpful. I kind of agree with the chief that there is a real danger of cars piling up if the first one stops for a pedestrian and the others don't. I think that's fair to say that's your position, right, Chief Wolfson? Thank you. But everything else that we can do to support this idea of getting people from their homes to the beach and back safely, I think we should do. So I urge you to support 211, although I'm not quite sure what it's all going to entail.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Jane McRogan, 22 North Hanover. I know how dangerous that yield law is, but honestly, you have to be able to get across Atlantic Avenue. And without that, you're just stuck there unless you walk to a light, which for some people is a problem. I mean, you know, you have kids with you, you have things you're carrying, and, you know, the lights are so far apart that it's just not sensible to do that. I mean, is there any way that that you could lower the speed limit in the summer to like 25, which would really help things a lot, I think, because you say 35 miles an hour, but people are doing 40 and 45 miles. And I know myself when I'm driving at 35, it's very difficult sometimes to see the pedestrian standing there. And is there any way that that could happen?
Chief, would you look into that? Or do you want to respond now?
Yes, if I could make comment. One of the plans, the proposals was for Atlantic Avenue was to actually lower the speed limit to 25 and redesign it so it would be one lane each way with a center turn lane. Unfortunately, we applied for a grant, a state aid grant, to get that done, and we were turned down for whatever fund, not because of the project, because I guess there was no money left. So this kind of dovetails into this resolution to allow us to get this done with some help from the state.
But the speed limit would remain 35.
No, would be dropped.
Oh, would be
My
25.
proposal incorporated dropping the speed limit to 25 miles per hour and making it one lane each way with a center turn lane and an enhanced bicycle lane.
There will be a problem with congestion. I know that. I mean, I don't know if there's a perfect answer.
I have to beg to differ. We did very in-depth research, Ocean City being one of them, and I will be the first one to tell you I was an opponent of Longport doing it. It works very successfully in Longport. Ocean City, it works very successfully. It's got no impact on traversing the street or slowing it down. It allows for people to get where they are in a safe manner, in a timely manner.
But is it going to help people get across the street in the summertime? I mean, is there any way we could have more traffic lights?
We're going one lane each way from two lanes with a center turn lane. So yes,
But it's still going to be a yield. There'll still be yield to pedestrians.
That's the state law. I can't change that.
Right,
I have
right.
been an opponent of that from day one. Unfortunately, I know Mr. Sewell said try to get some of our assembly people, Senator. There is no political person that's going to touch that right now because it's such a sensitive issue.
Is there any way we could get more traffic lights?
Traffic lights, I don't know. That's something we'd have to consider. Basically, I will go out on a limb here and tell you I don't think traffic lights are the issue or the answer.
Well, maybe you're not trying to get across Atlantic Avenue.
I go across Atlantic Avenue every day, ma'am. And I
With
think
kids and chairs and all the other stuff you're carrying? I mean, is there any way you could look into getting more traffic lights? Who would look into that?
that's something.
Right. Jane, I think the big picture is that we're all in agreement. I mean, it's a horrible law. It presents problems. It's something that, you know, we've looked at in the past and didn't get anywhere, but we all have concerns with it, and we will continue to look at it. And as things develop, we will report back to you and the public.
I mean, I know it's a problem that with that law, but like I said, you still have to be able to get across the street.
Okay, we will look into that.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Tom?
Second reading of ordinance 2014-32, capital ordinance appropriating $900,000 for emergency repairs, Hurricane Sandy repairs to the old City Hall building.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
Resolution 206, authorizing payment of claims and payroll.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Blumberg?
Yes.
Talby?
Yes.
207, accepts nationwide employee benefits proposal as our current provider.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
208, authorize renewal of liquor license 11633-007 Ocean Drive.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
Tom, on 209, where it says Rob Andrews, it probably should say Dilworth Paxson
Got it.
Law Firm. Instead of him individually, all right?
Okay.
Thank you, Scott.
209, award of professional services contract to Dilworth Paxson in the amount of not to exceed $10,000 as previously discussed.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
210, authorizes the execution of an agreement for a National Fish and Wildlife Foundation grant.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
211, authorized application to NJDOT for the support of the local bike and pedestrian planning grant.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
And 212 is the addition of the resolution for the tolling and standstill agreement, again, as previously discussed.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Tom.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
Thank you all for being here.